Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, a project that might convince me to start smoking, a way to get the perfect tie length, and it's time to take shots of salad. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast, and I am Ktdata, and joining me is a man who's usually mild-mannered, but I discovered something about him. Do not get in between this man and his bagel. Drew Tyler, how are you doing today, Drew?
I love the way you bring me in every time. No, I'm great. I'm doing wonderful, and it's true. Do not mess with my bagels.
I'm just checking, like you had your bagel today and everything, and the intern got you everything right, right?
Everything's fine. Okay. Don't you worry. I'm in a happy mood. We're fine. Let's move forward.
All right. I'm just making sure we don't get rage in between. So
everything is fine. I never get angry with anybody, so that's just a really funny story. You have to listen to the Little Big Cast if you want to hear the bagel story. I got mad for once in my life, and I was just firm with the customer service folks.
Yeah, littlebigcast.com. All right, if you guys have never seen the KickCast before, first of all, welcome. And what Drew and I do is we scour the internet.
Oh, day in and day out.
Yeah, especially crowdfunding sites to find you the latest, the greatest, the cool, the weird, the bizarre crowdfunding projects out there, and we bring them back to you.
We got a load today.
And we tell you if you should backtrack or sack them. So before we jump into the projects, we have a little bit of tips/news for all you people who are thinking about starting a crowdfunding project. So,
yes, learn from the masters.
Yeah, we'll start out with this. That's actually a twofer now, so we're giving you a bang for the buck this time.
Yep.
We are giving you project page tips. So there's 2 pages on there, and a lot of the information kind of overlaps, so we put it into one. The first one is a blog post on Kickstarter, and it begs the question, what makes a good project page on there? And they went out and asked 6 Kickstarter project creators who had successful projects out there, what makes a good project page. And
it looks like they went to one. It looks like they grabbed one from just about every groupings, fashion, dance, comics, tech. So.
Yeah. So the question is, Drew, if I asked you what do you think was their number one answer, what would you think that would be?
I would love to think that it would be have a great solid story in your video, and I know that's some of their answers, but I think. I've read this. I know what the answers are. I think that it really, they got it really concise. They did a good job of getting the answers concise. So for me, it's storytelling and being genuine. Those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing. And like part of the storytelling, of course, is, in my opinion, one of the most important things is the video. So if you don't have a video, that's a big problem already at the beginning on there. And this was actually pretty interesting that I didn't think about, and I guess the Kickstarter pages can track this, but if your video is watched about 50%, so over 45% of the time, if you have
a completion rate or whatever.
Yeah, completion rate, you have a better chance of having your project fund. So, Drew, as a guy who teaches video, how do you get people to watch at least half your video?
I have all the answers. Honestly, I have the answers. In fact, tomorrow at Hack Ogden, I'm doing a whole bit on how to shoot well. It comes down to keeping your audience interested, which means you keep it short. If I see a video that's over 2.5, 3.5 minutes, I'm not even gonna plan on getting through half of it. So I love a 2.5 minute video, and I love it to be well paced, good clean pictures, good clean audio. Really, it comes down to knowing what you're going to do before you get there. It's the ones that just throw up the phone and just start kind of blabbering and talking on and on and on, and that's just like this handheld, like, here, let me tell you about my project for the next 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 minutes. Those are the ones that I think aren't ready to tell that story. They just are excited to talk about it. You've got to take that energy and confine it into like this arc. Like, here's what I'm doing, here's how you're going to help me get there, and here's where your money goes. Like, there's a natural progression to that to kind of get people excited about what you're doing. So for me, it's good, clean stuff all the way around. Concise message, clean audio, clean video. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah. As somebody who watches a lot of Kickstarter videos and crowdfunding videos in general, keeping it in general under 2 minutes is good. 5 minutes is kind of pushing it, but if it's a really good story and the way you're telling it is good, I'll hang around. But I see those 10-minute ones and I'm like, oh man.
And for me, you've got to show what it is you're working on. If you are making a comic, if you are doing a project with a film or video or something, the more you show of what you've got, the better, right? The more that I see of your project visuals, the more likely I am to stick around, because that's what I'm digging through that video for. I want to know, how far along are you in the process? What have you got to show for it so far?
Yeah, and that's actually another thing is we've talked about the moving pictures. Now we're talking about the still pictures, images, images, images. Good images is always good. I mean, that's something I look through too. If you have a giant wall of text, I'm not that inclined to read it on there. But you have nice giant pictures that kind of guide you through the page layout and everything. That is something that is actually really good. That's even on the our second website that's on CrowdCrux, they talk about that too. Is just it goes back to the video and making it sure you're a little bit more visual. And one of the greatest tips I found out is if you're like, all right, KT Drew, I'm not a photographer. I'm definitely not a videographer. How do I get this? One of the best tips on these pages, it says, beg, borrow, steal to get a good video or get good images. You'd be surprised how many people out there shoot video or take pictures, and they're good too.
There's a lot of us, yeah.
So go find a friend who will do it for you. Take them out to lunch or something.
And I'll get requests from people. In fact, this semester alone, I probably had 4 or 5 people, just random emails. Hey, I'm looking for a student that can help us. So there are people who know where to go. Local university is a great place to go to get student work. And if you offer just token payment, just thank you for your time. I'd love your expertise. Make me a video. Either that, or I've seen it work favorably when somebody offers a. You can't quite do a percentage because you should be calculating your projects out to be like specific like cost benefits throughout your project, but you can kind of bring them on board as part of the team as you launch something and say, make us a video, and should we fund, and if things go well, you'll get X number of dollars plus this much if we hit stretch goals or something. So you can bring somebody on as a team member and get more of their skill.
Yeah, and then so finally 2 more points that I kind of want to point it out. Early momentum is always key. So starting out strong is something that you want to do out there. So, I love this idea of finding people before you actually start your project and then having them ready to click that back button right when you launch. So you got a good starting out, and it makes people to, they're like, whoa, they've already raised this much money in X amount of time. And that helps keep the momentum going and just invigorating updates, everything, keep people excited until the end of your project. And that's always a grateful help. And this one's actually, this last tip is more for petty reasons than anything else. Press can help drive your campaign up.
It's true. If you have those things in line before you launch or right shortly after you launch to say, post this on this day or make this blog post on this day or whatever, that you can kind of give that early momentum some continued pushing as you get people onto the project. Yeah. So press has a loud voice, and it comes back down to the broadcast, right? A lot of us have the narrowcast taken care of with our Twitter streams and our Facebooks, but when you want that broadcast, it'll blow it up for you.
Yeah. And Drew, you've worked in traditional media on there. Don't they aren't they always looking for these kind of things anyways to cover?
They are, and I could spend another entire hour talking about what the press is looking for. But really, if you've got something that's novel, they'll jump on it. If you've got something that's timely, that has to do with the season or the time that they're thinking about, that'll work. And if you've got anybody of prominence in your project, all those things are things that the press will look at it and say, does our majority of our viewership want to know about this? Yes, and let's find something something to do with it. So that goes for everything: TV, radio, all of them.
All right, so those are some tips. If you guys want to find out more details about this, just head on over to kickcast.net. Look in the show notes. Both of these articles are great to read. They have great information if you're going to start a project and just things to think about. So I love it.
Yes, this is yet another reason why you and I should start a Kickstarter consulting company, right?
Yes. All right. So, usually crowdfunding is all rosy and sunny, right? So we have to cover a little bit of the dark side. So what happens when people don't fulfill their promise in the Kickstarter? First, I think it's just uncool, but the Attorney General in Washington State thinks that you're in big trouble. So, to kind of give you a little bit of background into this, Ed Nash, he had a project for custom playing cards. Playing cards are usually safe. on crowdfunding projects. They're quick, easy, and they usually get out on there. And he had this theme called Asylum, so there were kind of these dark little themes that's coming out. They ended up raising $25,000 from 810 people.
Wow.
It was supposed to be delivered by December 2012. Didn't make that deadline, and then Ed Nash stopped talking to the crowdfunding backers.
Disappeared. It was totally ran on a lamb.
Yeah, in July 2013. So the Washington State Attorney General now is suing on behalf of a few Washington State residents.
Right, because all those backers could come from just about anywhere, but since a handful of them came from one place, the AG's getting involved, which is wild.
Yeah, and so he's suing them under the Consumer Protection Act. And for each violation, that's about $2,000 on there. So this is the first time we've actually seen a Kickstarter project get sued by a state, nonetheless, for not delivering their projects.
Because Kickstarter themselves have said, we're not liable. You can't come after Kickstarter for a project. But this is showing us that there are still places that will keep you honest, I guess. Keep you.
Yeah. And I honestly don't think it would have gotten to this far if he just had kept communicating with them and been honest, and just talked. And sometimes just, He
looks like a nice guy. Look at that picture. Yeah. He looks like a sweet, nice guy.
He apparently runs a business where he's like a manager for musicians and stuff too. So this is really weird.
Has there been any updates or anything on this?
So right now, the GeekWire contacted Kickstarted, and they, quoted their
we don't get involved.
You're donating at your own risk on there. And then they also said that tens of thousands of incredible projects have been brought to life through Kickstarter. We want every backer to have an amazing experience, and we're frustrated when they don't. We hope this process brings resolution and clarity to the backers of the project. So they're pretty much saying, yeah, it sucks you didn't get anything, but we're not doing anything about it.
Which I think is totally fine for Kickstarter to say that, because that's been their status from the very beginning. Yeah. But I also love the update that they did a few days ago, where they just said they reached out to the Attorney General's office, and they said, well, we hope to send a message to other project creators that they need to take the responsibility seriously, and we will bring more cases if needs be. So to me, that's a Washington kind of setting the bar.
Yeah,
I would love to see other states kind of get in there and also help people be responsible. And we don't hear about a lot of projects that fund real great with a great idea and then run away with the money. Yeah. We don't hear about that very often.
Yeah, so if it was me, and that's one thing to think about when you're putting a project, have a contingency plan. What happens if you raise your money and then something runs into? That's the whole reason they have the risks and responsibilities section on Kickstarter, is for you to think about those things, and it's not just a box that you should just skip over.
Find a way to fix it. Have a backup plan for letting everybody know, hey, if this goes down. And I think it's totally fine that given this stuff, if a project just falters, for some reason you can't deliver what it is that you thought you could, and you've run out of money, I mean, the honest good thing to do is just send everybody a note and say, this is exactly what went wrong. Here are the bad choices that were made, or maybe we trusted somebody we shouldn't have and they didn't deliver. You just keep that open, honest chain and save your name. I mean, this guy's out in hiding now, and he's going to have to witness relocation or something. I mean, he's screwed.
If it was me and screwed up, I would do everything in my power to get the project out to them. Even if it might take some time, I'd keep updating. I'd if it was financial reason, I'd get another job to try to, I'm all right, guys, I actually picked up another job and I'm trying to get you this. Right. It may take some more time, but I'm doing everything in my power to deliver this to you guys. So
integrity, my friends. Integrity.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. And if you don't want to get into legal trouble, just deliver. Just be transparent. That's always good. Being transparent is never bad. All right, Drew. Let's jump into some actual projects right there.
So we're 13 minutes in. We've taught you everything you need to know. Now, let's see a project.
All right. So I don't know if you and I don't have this problem because we don't smoke, but smoking is still one of the biggest things. And guys, smoking is bad. Yes. My day job is me in healthcare, and anything that's related to smoking, it's bad. So
take it from KT. He sees the damage.
Yeah. So the Quitbit is actually a device that's trying to help smokers stop. And it kind of follows the same idea of, those Nike Fuel Bands, the Fitbit, the Jawbone Up, the fitness trackers, except this time it's actually an activity tracker for smokers. So what it does is it actually keeps track of how many cigarettes you've had, when was the last time you had a cigarette, things like that, things that will give you information about your smoking habits so you can change them.
Right there on the lighter itself.
Yeah, on the lighter itself. It has a little screen.
You almost have to see it to even light your cigarette.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is you're like, how do they know this? So instead of using a flame, they actually use a heating element like the car cigarette lighters that you have
heated coil
on there, so it knows how many times you lit it. Plus, it has Bluetooth on it, so you can sync it with your phone and have an app that you can actually program. So sometimes you can even set your limits. So if you've had too many in like an hour or so, it won't light for you, so it helps keep you honest. It's not going to stop you entirely. I mean, you can go find a match somewhere else, but it's these devices that give you more information. I'm a big fan of information, and that way you can trend and see how many cigarettes you're having. Because
set your own goals, all that.
Yeah, because one of the biggest things you talk to people is like, do you know how many cigarettes you smoke a day? It's like, I don't know, 1 or 2. But then when they really count it, it's like 6, and you're like, holy crap, that's a lot. And cigarettes are not cheap.
They're not cheap.
So I love this. The battery in it lasts for about 1 week or 100 lights. So that's a couple packs of cigarettes, I think. I don't know.
Especially when it only takes a couple hours to charge. Not a big deal for that. Yeah.
So I love it, and it even has a community aspect, so you can tweet out and whatnot. So you can, it's kind of that group thing to help you quit smoking on there. So I love it. What do you kind of think about this?
I like they did have a nice story. I loved what they did with the project, with the idea. Again, I'm not the target demographic, but I loved what they were kind of saying. If you could measure it, you can manage it. That makes total sense. If you've got an addiction, if you've got something you're trying to fix or change in your life, if you can measure it, you can then adjust that measurement to hit goals and to reach goals and stuff. So I love the idea. I had, my question was like, what do I do after I quit? I made it. Do I just put this on a mantle and be like, hey, here's $80 or whatever it was here's what I used to quit, and maybe that's worth it because you probably spend a lot more on the patch or other things. But I also thought it would be cool to be able to just like gift it to somebody else and be like, this is what helped me try it. So, because obviously it has a long life, and somebody is really determined to quit, they'll be able to do it in a couple of months or so. So I don't know. I kind of like it. For me, it's a track.
Yeah.
For me, it's a track. I think I'll tell others about it and hope that it funds. How close was it to funding? I don't remember.
Not even close yet, but they barely launched.
Okay, so they're fresh. They're fresh.
Yeah, so they're looking to raise $50,000. So far, they're at $17,000 with 28 days to go. I'm confident they can reach that.
Yeah.
On there, and like, is it bad that I kind of want to like start smoking so I can just get release to quit? I think it's cool. And like I if I quit, I would have that up and like, that's my little buddy right there. That's kind of my crutch. I'd probably still even carry it. So, on those days that you get cravings, even after you quit, you just hold it up and you're like, no. It's like,
maybe that's something they can put in there where you just be like, don't even think about it or something, like some sort of like custom after you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Have a little custom token that says, don't even try it.
So like, yeah, I love the idea. To me, it's a back because I'm all about more information. We first started seeing them with the fitness trackers, and now it's kind of expanding even more. So I just think of all the possibilities of having this information around you, things that you don't know. Like I would personally, if it was for me and I got back into StarCraft, I would love one that logged how often I played StarCraft, and that might be okay. Maybe not for me to quit. I mean, talking about StarCraft today, I got a little bit of the itch.
Yeah, a little itchy. I'm sorry to help that. I was not a part of that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? These guys have only been launched for a day, so
yeah. I think they'll get it.
Yeah. They did one day or 2 days, I guess, today, and so this is a good project example. If you want to look at something that's done a really great video along with the great like pictures all the way down, wonderful layout. Everything is in there is a very good project.
Yeah, so I like it. All right, Drew, let's go into our next project, and this is actually probably a problem that you and I both have.
Yes.
I know you don't wear ties that often, but I wear ties fairly often, and we always run into this problem of not getting it right. Some people might not know this, but there's actually a correct length
Yes.
to have a tie, and it should be
Yes.
the bottom of the tie should barely touch the top of your belt.
I never get there. I never get there. I'm either like 2 buttons too high, or it's dragging down to my crotch.
Yeah. And for me, when I do it, I always have to kind of like, oh crap, I end up tying my tie 2 or 3 times just to get it the right length, because it bugs me that when it doesn't.
I have certain ties now that I've done it for. Again, I've done it for a long time. Obviously, I do it every Sunday. I wear a tie, and then on special days at school, I wear a tie. But I also spent 2 years, serving the mission where I wore a tie every day and multiple ties a day. So I've gotten a pretty good habit where I can tie it in one, and I'll mess it up and just leave it long and goofy.
Yeah.
But this particular project, I think, solves that, and I like what they're doing with it. It's very simple. It's very easy. The goal is manageable. It's called Length Matters. Get it right the first time with TieQ. So TieQ is the project. It's a simple, easy-to-use system that makes it so that you can tie that perfect tie length every time. Developed out of frustration, and I think that's so true, because no matter what you're tying, it's always too short or too long, and they've got great visuals for that. But essentially, you take this measurement, and their package tells you how to measure your length, circumference, and then your torso length. You do some mathematics and some little grid, and it'll look at that, and you can find exactly where to put a special marker on each of your ties. And I believe the kit comes with 9 markers. You lay your tie out, you find that marker spot, and on all the ties that you wear frequently, you put a little marker on there, so that it's a super sticky thing, so that when you tie your tie, you know exactly where to put that marker. That's what hangs right here, and you tie around it. Now, I would have to probably learn how to tie ties differently, because I actually take the small end. So I take the small end, I measure it to a button, and then I do my looping and wrapping and tying with the big end. The way that they've kind of got it is they and maybe it's just the style that I tie, but they're tying the little end around and then tucking the big end.
Yeah, I think
there's 100 ways to tie it.
Yeah, there are totally different knots and stuff. Yeah. I mean, he likes he likes to do the symmetrical one, but I like a symmetrical knot on there.
Yeah, he's kind of off, and I like a nice little triangle piece right there.
Yeah, on there. So there's multiple ways of doing it, and I actually do this mentally, but the problem is I never remember where it is on each of my ties. So this is actually something that will give you a visual cue on where to do it. So that's why.
That's why I guess my question is, but hey, does your super say quit bit? No, it's different.
Nope, that's not the right one. This one.
I want to take you. Nope. No, that's our next one. I'm excited about that one too. I love having your playback.
Oh man.
Type Q is going to be awesome.
All right, we'll fix that.
It didn't save. I bet it didn't save.
We'll fix that in post.
So I guess my biggest question with this, and I love the idea, and I know a lot of people that wear ties and will wear more ties, but my biggest question is, I tie based on the small end, and this system seems to be based on the marker goes to the same place on every tie. It's you measure it off the end of the tie, mark it, and that's what you hold at your neck level and tie everything around it. But that's backwards for me. And I think that if I measured from the small end, I'd get a different effect. So I guess for me, I will back it, and I will figure it out and find out what works for me. I have way more 9 ties. How many ties do you have, KT?
Way more than 9 too, but I figured once you get used to being able to do this, you probably can.
Maybe you could just measure it out.
Measure it out for another one, and or get a whole bunch of these, because I don't think it costs that much to get these.
Super sticky stickers.
Yeah.
I could borrow my kids' stickers. I could have like little unicorns on the back of the tie and be like, "That's the unicorn spot."
Yeah.
I have probably 78 ties.
Holy crap! True.
I was a seminary teacher for a year. Oh, man. I was. Yeah.
That's a lot of ties. This one's a back for me too. Just
back for me, and I think it's brilliant. I think that's why it's back for me.
Yeah, it's so simple too. You don't have to worry about pins or anything that's going to damage your tie. It's unobtrusive, not going to make it look weird when you tie your knots and everything. It's just perfect.
Yeah, but I think that's why it's perfect, simple, easy, and manageable. They went for a goal that was not overly crazy. It was that it was just they're halfway there already.
Yeah, and they started maybe a few days ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty
fresh. That's really good. Yeah, they started on the 9th, so that was only 4 days ago.
So I think they're going to go over just fine, and I will be telling a lot of friends and family that are about to be tie wearers for their missions. I will let them know about it.
So that is the TieQ.
TieQ.
Back from both of us. All right. So here's something that I don't do often, and that's eat salads. And part of the reasons I don't eat salads is it's about the flavors and everything about salad dressing. So
Flavors hold you back, really?
well, and the healthiness factor too. But grease just tastes so much better.
Yes, it does.
So we have salad shots, and what they do is they are trying to reinvent salad dressing. And part of the thing about salad dressings is transporting them, because everybody has those giant bottles of salad dressing.
Right,
When you make, and even if you're making it at home, you make tons of them, right? So the whole idea of salad shots are single serve packets of salad dressing that use unique flavors that a lot of people tend not to look at.
Unique.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is part of the problem. I mean, they do have flavors like rose petal and chocolate chip. And
yes, there's two.
Is pomegranate a unique flavor? As you can see, I am not anywhere close to being a salad expert.
I don't think pomegranate's that unique. I guess I don't know. That's. But carry on. I won't spoil it yet.
And so they come in these weird squeeze-it shape packages, things that you see for kids a lot of times. So it has a lid that you can actually unscrew and then pour things out, or you can just rip the package open and use it as a dipping tray on there. And it comes with so they're launching with 6 different flavors, and the flavors are chocolate chip, pomegranate, citrus ginger, honey mustard, rose petal, and feel good ranch on there. As far as I know, it honey mustard, citrus ginger, and ranch are
right. They're there.
Traditional ones, but they do list other flavors, and those are the flavors that I kind of want: mac and cheese, mint basil, and PB&J. Those are like the flavors that I'm looking for.
That's and I wonder. I mean, this is kind of a novelty project, and I wonder if they shouldn't put some of those more novel ones up front. But
I think those would be the unique ideas that could get a little bit more people backing it on there. And if they had those flavors, I might want to eat salad more often. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm the guy that's like, I'll take salad with as much bacon and grease on there.
Croutons and
blue cheese. Give me lots of blue cheese.
All the stuff that they say you shouldn't eat a lot of.
Yeah,
good things.
I still feel like I'm cleansing if I have one salad a week. It's like, hey, it's my cleansing meal. Hold on, eat a salad. Thanks to my wife, I eat very well, and I will eat salads. So I think this one is, again, a fun project, and I think we had a lot of these in the cuts, and we should talk about a lot of these after the show. But there's a lot of silly ones. This one to me was borderline silly because it was like, I get it. I understand that salad dressing has gotten boring for you. But these, I guess for me, citrus ginger, honey mustard, even Feel Good Ranch, pomegranate, they just weren't out there enough to be like the novelty side of things. So all it became was like, we got a cool new package for your favorite flavors. That's kind of all it was. Even in, the video was really well done, but that's as I watched it, I was like, I can buy these. I already can get these. I don't travel that much that I need a salad dressing to go with me. If I'm going to have salad at school, I'm going to, at work or wherever, I'm going to mix it up and take my container ready to go with all my dressing. I'm not carrying dressing with me. Anyway, so for me, this was kind of a borderline silly one, so I will sack it. I mean, fun, exciting, neat, but I want to see stuff. I want to see different flavors. Like you were saying, if there's like a Milk Duds flavor, a Bottle Caps flavor, a Nerds flavor, right? These are the things that I would be like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah, but for me, it's a track. It on paper, it sounds like a good idea, but it's not giving me those unique flavors that I really, really want. And these guys in their video, you can tell they're totally into this idea and wanting to bring these fresh new flavors on there. But I think they played it a little bit safe on there. I think
so. And you know what? It looks like they may make it. They are rolling in at about
halfway right now.
Halfway, and still like a month and a half to go. So if they keep up their momentum and if they pull that, the press in and their Twitters and other things, I think they can do it. Although, if you look at this, there's only 32 backers for that half. That's $12,000 between 32 people. That tells me that
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money from a few people. I really think that if this is going to fly, and it looks like they've already put a lot into the packaging, and didn't they have a advertisement on the side of a bus stop? They put stuff into this. I think we've got to see a lot more backer to backing per capita. 32 is not much.
Yeah. All right. So Good luck slash shot salad shot. I keep looking at it and seeing slash dot. I've been on the internet way
Slash
too
dot.
long. So unfortunately,
dot.
Drew, what's sad though is that's the last project of the day. Aw.
That's a delicious end right there.
Yeah. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the KickCast. If you have any projects or anything that you want to suggest us covering, please let us know. KickCast at ktdata.net or on Facebook, facebook.com/KickCast, or
We are here.
or on the Twitters at KickCast, Google plus.kickcast.net, or just tweet or you can tweet our individual accounts too. Drew's is Night20 and mine
20.
is KTData, and we'll put it on the list. We can't guarantee it'll be on the show, but we'll put it on the list.
There's a big list that I can't wait to get through. Maybe we'll do that for like a release next week or something. We'll run off some of these silly ones real quick.
Yes. And then thank you all in the chat room, Rev, Sparky, Laser Room. Thank you guys for watching live. If you guys want to watch live, they always say funny things. Some of the stuff they said, I almost started laughing through this episode.
Very, very active chat room today. Yeah. Loved it.
You can find our next live show May 27, 2014, and that's
my mom's birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday to your mom.
Neat.
At live.kickcast.net. And let's see what else. Make sure you guys check out Drew's other show, Little Big Cast. It is hilarious.
Well. It's doing well. Today was a fun day. Today was a fun day. We in fact I think it's up and posted already. So you go to littlebigcast.com and it'll pop you right over to KTData's site, and you will see our latest episode where we talk about my beard, we talk about pooping. I mean, it's
all the good stuff right there. Yeah, all the good stuff on there. And then, if you're over at ktdata.net, make sure you check out all the good things. Like I just barely opened April's Loot Crate, and May's Loot Crate's coming soon. So find out what's in the box. So guys, of course, Drew, thanks for coming by. I always enjoy it, and I don't know where the time goes.
Super fun.
It flies by. All right, so we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Till then, bye.